and I actually ate shit and cut myself really badly, which has got lots of stitches. So I'm really living the title, you know.
Wow, man. Hamish, we've started off every conversation with anyone abroad with what time is it there? So what time is it there?
It's currently 8 p.m. on Thursday evening.
Nice, man. Hang on, Thursday evening. That still blows my mind. So do you know what the lottery results are already, or like can you give me any insight?
Look, I probably wouldn't be, as much as I really want to have a chat with you, I probably wouldn't be here if I knew the lottery results.
I can't believe that. Well, even if you won, you'd be like, I'm sacking this guy off.
yeah. Look, I'll send a couple your way, so that's all good.
Oh, mate, that's cool. I appreciate that. So, dude, tell me a little bit more about 1,000 cuts, because when I first looked at this, I was like, the first thing that came into my head was "First cut is the deepest." You know that song, and it's a song that I had to play at college, and it's really funny. It's almost kind of hit home to me then, as I thought about when it says 1,000 cuts. I was like, I wonder, like, if this is what I'm thinking. Like, tell me more about what the concept, how you got to where you got to.
Yeah, for sure. And I think it's probably quite timely. I literally got back from Indonesia yesterday morning, racing mountain bikes in this random place called Banyuwangi at West Java. And I actually ate shit and cut myself really badly, which has got lots of stitches. So I'm really living the title, you know.
Wow, man.
But no, I think more seriously, there's obviously the adage death by 1,000 cuts, in terms of it's not just one thing that really makes you fail or kills you. And I think success is very much the same. And I think a lot of people are really searching for just that wonder drug or that panacea or that one easy thing that'll fix everything. And it just doesn't fucking exist. Like, it's a lot of different things consistently over time, done well, and hard choices and decisions that will get you places and make you progress and make you successful. So I think also the pain of getting cut, I think it's hard, right? It takes time and it hurts, and it ultimately feels awesome when you get there, when you've put the hard work in and you've tried really hard, if you know what I mean. So yeah, I think obviously probably not the sexiest title, but one that hits home for me, I think. So, and tries to give a bit of insight into you've got to want it and you've got to have a bit of a go to get there. So
that's I feel like we can't. Tell me more about Indo. Like, what were you doing there? Why? Yeah. Like, well, we'll come back to the 1,000 cuts, but like we started off with like, I mean, we even chatted before, and I'm like, he kept that. That was like a proper Goldie moment. I love it.
Yeah. Look, so went for a little bit of a holiday, and I suppose just one of the core tenets in the book is a healthy tension. So I try and work really hard and work towards stuff, and I try and make sure I have as much fun as possible and relax. So an option came, a group of mates organized a racing event overall in Indonesia. And they're like, "Do you want to come?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, that sounds fucking sick." So I went over a little bit earlier, hung out, went surfing and played some golf and ripped around on a scooter and drank a few bintangs and did the general Bali thing. And then we actually drove all the way up and caught a ferry across to West Java and went up to the base of a volcano and raced downhill mountain bikes. And it wasn't supposed to be the monsoon season, but it just pissed rain the entire time. So the track was really wet and slippery. I got through all of the practice and stuff, and then in my qualifying run, I came out of a turn and slid out on some rocks and smacked my arm really hard. But they were like, "Cool, you have to finish your qualifying run to be able to be eligible to race." So I jumped back on, and my back brake had stopped working, so I had to finish my run with only a front brake in very slippery conditions, and got back to the pits, and my mate was like, "Oh, you all right?" I was like, "Yeah, all good." Took my shirt off, and he was like, "Ugh." I looked down, and my arm was just like split open. So I was like, "Oh, I really don't want to have to go to get some sort of medical procedure done in like rural Indonesia. So needless to say, it was deep enough. We raced down through the streets, like almost killed some people on scooters, and had to get it sewn up in their hospital there. And yeah, it got super infected, but I think we got it under control with antibiotics.
Wow. No way.
Yeah.
Wow. It's funny, isn't it? It's not until you kind of go to a completely different culture like that, you kind of realize, like, like the medicine and the medical, like, in Australia, like, it must be so different.
Yeah. Our medical is awesome. But yeah, I think, like, again, if you, I suppose, take some of the stuff out of the book, I've got a concept called pivot, not plummet. So it's like, well, I didn't break anything, so I don't have to have major surgery. It's like, we're going home in a couple of days afterwards. We're still going to be sweet. I got a really exciting adventure through the streets and got to meet some really lovely people who tried to help me out. So yeah, it all ended up pretty good. So.
And so you're a bit of a kind of a bit of a thrill seeker as well, because obviously I know you've done an Ironman as well.
I do like setting hard targets for myself, and I like speed and risk, and I'm pretty good at hurting myself and crashing and running out of talent as well. So
No way. When you get to like something like an Ironman, now for me, I am. Do you guys have Couch to 5K in Australia?
I think
yeah,
the concept sort of exists. Yeah.
You probably don't have. I think I have Sarah Millican, who's a Geordie comedian over in Australia.
Right.
I can't imagine you'd have her as the voiceover on it.
I don't think
she's
so.
like, all right, Pat, it's time to get up for a wee run now, and you're like, that was actually Scottish, but there we go.
Yeah.
So when I look at stuff like that, for me, I've always been into functional fitness, CrossFit. That kind of has been my vibe. I love mountain biking as a kid. What do you get from that, like that thrill, that kind of like, I suppose, that destination of like a big challenge?
Yeah, I think that one, like, I like the thrill side and the enjoyment side probably even more. I've got a fast motorbike, all that sort of stuff.
Which I'm assuming you stick to the speed limit at all times, right?
It's never gone over the speed limit ever. I do take it on racetracks though, so there's no speed limit on a racetrack. So.
Nice.
But no, I think they're a little bit different. So I've got this concept called scary, exciting, nightmarish targets. So you can fully scent it. But it's something that when you think about it, you're like, oh, I'm really scared. But then you're super excited and you kind of get butterflies. You're nervous. It's kind of on the edge of, can you actually do it or not? And you kind of like, oh, I think I can. And I reckon I've got this. So I think with the Ironman, it was kind of more like that. So I'd run marathons before. I'm a pretty strong cyclist, but I am fucking shit at swimming. And it's like a 3.8K swim. And the one I did was in Perth, which is in the ocean where there's heaps of sharks. So I was like, oh, it sounds pretty fucked. But
no way.
So, and I think stacking them all up together, because it's a 3.8K swim, 180K ride, and then a full marathon to finish. So I think that overall endurance of, if I do all the training right and I learn all of the nutrition, etc., I think I can potentially do it. But I'm kind of scared. And it sounds like a really cool thing to do. And it would be a really nice thing to tick off. One of my mates I did it with, well, I think he looked up the number, like the percentage of people in the world, and it was like 0.00 something. He's like, we could be part of that. I was like, oh, actually, that sounds pretty cool. Yeah. And I think, again, coming back to, if you do all of the training, like, yeah, it's still fucking hard, but if you're consistent, you set out a plan, you learn all the nutrition, and you break it down slowly and methodically and work it out over time and actually do the work so that you learn from the doing, then it actually becomes possible. And I think, like, running across that finish line and hearing the words from the guy being like, "Hamish, you are an Iron Man," you're like, fuck yeah, that felt so good. Like, one of the best feelings in the world. So yeah.
I'm really interested, because I talk a lot about visualization, and I kind of looked at a few of the kind of chapter notes and stuff from your book and so forth.
Yeah.
And I'm really keen to know whether if visualization on your destination is something that's really kind of key and important to like your journey and your goals when you're, especially, I mean, I just think about this straight away when you say like you fell off your bike and you were like, I've got to qualify. There was no fucking hesitation. You just jumped straight back on your bike. I've only got one brake. I mean,
Yeah.
most people may go, fuck this. I think I might
Yeah.
be bleeding. Like, do you use visualization a lot within your kind of setting your destination?
Yeah, I do. I think I talk about it quite a lot in the book, and I think there's even a whole chapter on visualization. And I think I probably picked it up from a couple of different spots. One of my colleagues talked about it from when he does presentations and stuff like that. And there's a couple of things of visualizing how good it's going to feel if you get something, but also visualizing what the scenario is going to feel like so that you can prepare for it better, all those sorts of things, be more comfortable, or see the bits that make you feel the most stressful so you can practice those more, those sorts of things. I think when you're setting a goal or a scent, visualizing how it might feel if you finish that. So I think if you get all warm and fuzzy and tingly and you get really excited and you can't wait to start it, or you get really fucking scared, but in a good way, then you're like, okay, that's probably the right thing. I'm setting that for myself rather than for someone else or for whatever that needs to be. So yes, a lot from there. And then I think as if you set something that's going to take you a long time, for example, writing a book that's going to take took me 4 years, visualizing that finished product and how good it's going to feel, and hopefully getting information to people and helping them, I'm like, that feels really good. So it kind of keeps me going. So checking in as you're going to sort of test that sort of stuff out.
Yeah.
And then again, as I said, like as a preparation thing, thinking about all of the different scenarios so that you can practice everything. So when you get there, you know how it's going to feel, and you've kind of already practiced yourself, and you can almost get into, hopefully, straight into that flow state and let that happen.
That when you say flow state, for many people that probably feels very different, and it feels that the world is kind of in a rife of ADHD and those kind of syndromes, isms, and all that and that so forth. Has there been any blocks for you with kind of getting in that flow state, and how have you kind of overcome them?
Yeah, I think all the time, like just taking from writing the actual book, it took me quite a while to work out the best process for me and the fastest way for me to get into flow state. So kind of the idea had been bouncing around in my head for quite a few years. So I I work in a sort of consulting role slash advisor slash account executive type role. I've helped lots of people, etc., and I've seen stuff work lots again. And it was interesting reading your bio as well. Like I've read lots and tried a lot of stuff on myself to learn how best it all works, which I've tried to sort of put all together into a cohesive narrative in the book. But then I'm like, I really actually want to try and write this thing. And I think writing a book is definitely a scary, exciting, nightmarish target for me, which I self-published as well. So learning all that side was fucking wild.
Yeah, yeah.
The first sort of year, I kept coming back to the structure and changing it and stuff like that. And I was like, cool, I'll write on the weekends when I got time, etc. I'm busy, all that sort of stuff. And it was kind of stop start. And some days would work really well, and then others would just shit ass. I think I ended up writing like 18,000 words in the first year. And I was like, well, if I extrapolate out and I want to write at least 75,000 words, which is kind of roughly the average book, I was like, I'm going to be here for quite some time. So I probably need to make some changes. I changed, and in the morning I was kind of getting up, making a coffee and checking Instagram or something useless. So I was like, you know what, fuck that. I'm going to get up. I can't touch my phone until I make my coffee and my brekkie as a ritual, and then force myself to sit in front of the computer for at least 5 to 10 minutes every day and write something. And until I'd done that, I couldn't, and check my sleep stats and my weight on the scales. I like the metrics.
Nice.
I couldn't have a look at my phone. And I literally wrote like 50,000 words the next year. And it was just like, holy fuck, that's amazing. And like so much so now I still get up early, make that same ritual, and whatever thing I want to focus on now, I just do that for sort of like 5 to sort of 30 to 45 minutes. And like the amount of progress just from consistency and going through. So I think building the right habits and doing them consistently, no matter what, even if I'm fucking hungover from a massive night with friends or whatever, I'll still sit down. I traveled South America. I rode across India in a rickshaw, like one of those tuk-tuks with some mates. And I still did the stuff. I still wrote it while I was doing the Ironman training, etc. And it got there, and it was awesome. I think you can kind of extrapolate that out to whatever your challenge or your scent is. Getting that consistency and doing the practices. And if you look at, I think there's a book called Flow by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I can't pronounce his name very well, but funnily enough, you go through it's like being consistent, working out the right things, putting the right things in place, and it just happens, and you slip into that flow state.
I love that, man. I love that. One thing I really love what you said there is that when you was like weight and was it your weight and your sleep that you track because you love the metrics? I'm curious, how do you track your metrics when it comes to like weight and sleep?
Yeah, so for sleep, I have an Oura Ring.
Nice.
And I also have a Garmin. This is more for like the sport tracking, but I wear them both and I play them off against each other because I like testing.
So just so you don't feel like a nutter, I wear a Garmin and I've got a Whoop.
Yes, cool. I'm not the only crazy one. And do you know? Because like until I read Why We Sleep by Matthew Walker, which literally changed my life, I think similar to you. I was like, sweet, I can burn the candle at both ends. Sleep is a cousin of death, if we want to quote Nasty Nas. And then I read this book and I was like, holy fuck, this is life-changing. Like cutting yourself short from sleep is literally like the antithesis of the wonder drug that you're looking for. It's like the thing that can do the most shit if you're looking for one simple thing. It's like sleep enough and make sure the sleep quality is good, and just being like, oh, I feel great. I always sleep good. How do you know? Because you need to have a look. So yeah, I literally check. First thing I do when I wake up is look at my sleep stats. Not because I'm a psycho and I'm like, oh, I can't go out or do anything. I'll still do all the same shit, but it'll influence me to be better. Or set up better habits or go to bed a bit earlier or do whatever so that I can keep the trend roughly in the right direction. Similar for the weight, I've found that if I sit between sort of 88 and 91, I'm like the most applicable for the most amount of things that I like doing. So I like running, I like going to the gym, I like rock climbing, I like mountain biking, I like to look good, and I like to feel healthy type stuff. And I want to be as applicable for any new sports. I've got enough muscle and I've got enough cardiovascular fitness if I sit within that range. So I've got a pair of Garmin scales that sync up via Wi-Fi. So it all goes into Garmin Connect. So you get the metrics and you can see the trend over time. So again, like, I fucking love eating treats and drinking whatever. So I use that to help me stay roughly within that range that I've found that is the best for me. So
what I recently kind of had a bit of an issue with myself is I've been wearing Whoop for, I think I thought it was only about 3 or 4 years, but it turns out it's about 5 or 6 years because I've been wearing it since before the lockdown. And I went through a little kind of, my wife and I had this same thing. It was coming up for the renewal soon. They've just changed it. It's now got loads of extra features on there. But it's great. I mean, it tracks, you can track your menstrual cycle on there for a woman on there, which I think is amazing. And there's so many different things in there that I'm like, this is really cool. I got to a point where I thought, shit, am I reliant on this? Like, because I was like, oh my God, like, oh my God, I'm getting up in the morning, I'm checking it, and I'm like, oh yeah, cool, I had a good night's sleep. But what I was focusing on was oh yeah, I'm relying on it because I want to make sure I'm fit, healthy, and stuff like that. But when I hit the floor, and I've probably getting over the tail end of, I don't know whether it's COVID because I'm not going to test for it, but whatever version of fucking the cold I have now. But I was able to look at my Whoop 2 weeks ago and see like this. So I was able to kind of almost be ready for it and kind of prepare and go, right, okay, like what am I doing wrong? And then like able to look at my life. Have you kind of found yourself almost obsessing over the tracking measurements sometimes?
No, I think that's something I don't know if it's, I did read some stuff like when I was looking into Aura, for example, where people were talking about getting into the metrics or like getting anxiety from being like, oh, I hope I get a good enough score. And I don't think it's that. I think I'm focused, like I wear it for the right reason because like I want to
Mm,
be as effective as I possibly can, live as long as I possibly can, and have the best time whilst I'm doing that. And so I think looking at some of the core ones in terms of like heart rate variability and stuff like that, I think it's funny you say that when when we did the Ironman, it was three of us that did it together. The other one took his watch off for his sleep the night before because he's like, I can't see my body battery score and my sleep
amazing.
score before I do it because it'll influence how well I perform. I'm like, well, you're going to fucking do exactly the same thing regardless
I
of what
did. I
happens.
did. I competed in turf games a few years ago,
Yeah.
and I judged at turf games all Friday, all Saturday. Came Sunday morning, I was in the 1% club. I've never been in the
Yeah.
1% club, and
Yeah.
that was my competing day. I hit 2 PBs. I was like, "Fuck me!" But
Yeah.
like almost that, my mindset was. I honestly, I looked at the whoop score in the morning and was like, "Oh shit,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm dead. There's no way I'm going to get through this."
Yeah. And I think it's probably like if you zoom out in life, like they're there to help to inform you about roughly what's happening and to help you make the right decisions. But you can potentially still do amazing things regardless of what's there. So I think they're nice aids, and like for me, it just influences the right healthy habits around
Amazing.
that. But again, like you might stay up and have a massive bender with your mates, etc. But you know what's there and you know how fast you can get it back, etc. Like that, rather than being like, "Oh, I'm going to take it off." I'm like, "No, I want to see what what happens when I only get there." It's like 2 or 3 hours of sleep type stuff.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? It's also measuring those measurements where you go like, oh yeah, I've got 2 or 3 hours sleep. I mean,
Mm,
because I don't know what you're like before a comp or something like that, where you're like, I always feel like I drain down a little bit, and I'm like, can't go to sleep. Someone was too wired. But then
yeah,
when you start, and you're like, well, actually, if I just did this on 3 hours sleep, imagine if I could actually sleep. Do you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah,
So
yeah,
like,
yeah.
um, I want to like, I've got a couple of questions for you around the book.
Mm.
Obviously, 1,000 cuts. Why 1,000? Because that sounds like a lot.
Well, it was more just to play off the death by 1,000 cuts, but the opposite.
Right.
As there's not, I haven't counted it.
I was going to say,
To
I was
see how
thinking
many
there's
there
like
are.
he's had 1,000. Is there a cut then in your life that you have just been like, either A, wish never fucking happened, or B, you're just like, that was the biggest freaking lesson of my life.
Look, I don't think there's probably one big one. Like I've failed at a lot of shit over time. And I think earlier on, I used to get really frustrated with stuff when it didn't go the way that I wanted, all that sort of stuff. And I think over time, from, I suppose, hopefully seeing the impacts of potentially wasting emotion on stuff where it's not going to fix it or not channeling it into the right stuff. Um, I think it's probably been more, and I think getting, like, everyone's so scared of getting old, and I'm not that old, but getting older is just fucking sick because you can get to see how well to deal with stuff or how wasting time and energy on stuff that doesn't really matter can change, and you can really focus it in the right spot and use your time for good. I think, um, I don't think there's been one massive failure where I've been like, wow, I've really fucked that up and that's changed my life completely. Um, I think like I was never really the coolest kid or anything like that. I'm probably not that naturally talented at stuff. I always have to work really hard, which earlier on you're like, oh, it's so unfair when these are, but I think
Mm.
it's a great thing because it's built my resilience and my ability to practice and focus in on the things and grind through it harder, and potentially get there faster than other people that potentially have more natural talent where it comes easier to them and they get bored and they can never get to the end or finish something or those sorts of things as well. So, um, and like, yeah, again, I've crashed my bike and, uh, yeah, almost killed myself quite a few times. Not from a morbid place, but or a dark place, just from unluckily crashing shit, going really fast, or doing certain things. So I think that's probably influenced potentially probably doesn't seem like it, but more safer type stuff. But it's also something I feel most alive when I've got that speed and risk stuff together. So I still like to do that, and I'll still push the edge a little bit here and there so I can feel alive. Because I suppose, again, like from the longevity thing, what's the point of living to 150 if you have the fucking most boring life ever? Because you never
Yeah,
have a
man.
drink, or you never go and hang out with your friends, or stay up till whatever and go to a music festival. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
What's your
yeah.
version of feeling alive then? Because I know some people may be sort of listening to this going, oh, it's all right for him. He's brave. Like, like what, when you say you feel alive, obviously everyone's alive is different.
Mm.
For me, like to give you an example, I feel absolutely alive when I'm, talking to people like in person, like surfing for me, getting in the water, getting in the
Yeah.
ocean, performing,
Yeah.
like playing music. Um,
Yeah.
you put me in certain situations. I mean, I'm like I shit myself at a roller coaster, but would jump out of a plane without hesitation. So,
Yeah.
like, what makes you feel like what is that? Not what makes you feel alive, but like, what does that feel like for you?
Yeah, so and I think you've kind of hit the nail on the head really well. I think it's very subjective for each person. So you don't have to go and ride your motorbike as fast as it goes to feel that, right? Like an awesome piece of prose in a poem or something like that might do the same thing, like drinking an amazing wine from Burgundy or something like that. When it's like you can feel it, like the tingle goes up your neck and all the palate works perfectly. It's like you've been touched by the hand of God. And it's like,
Yeah.
oh. For me, like I get the biggest runner's high, like when I run, which takes a while once you get past the surviving to running stage, and you got awesome music playing, and there's like sun setting or sun rising, and you just feel awesome, and it just comes, and it's one of the best feelings ever. Or it might be watching an awesome TV show, or being close to your loved one, or patting your dog, or whatever that looks like. But I think it unlocks something. Like I burst into tears, like from joy, because it just, you could feel like all that chemical gets released, etc. um or I think doing something that you never thought was possible and practicing really really hard and getting that, and it all falls into place,
Hmm.
or it doesn't, and you get the chance to have to go and grind through all that shit again and try and get there type stuff. But yeah, I think, again, the first section of my book is called mindset, right? Because everyone's like, oh yeah, have a positive mindset, or just have a good mindset. And you're like, what the fuck does that mean? I've tried to codify that and break it down and create the, I suppose, glass is half full type side of things, that pivot, not plummet, and no expectations, no worries type stuff, where it's really you that can change the stuff. And I kind of suggest that, you know what, information is objective. It has no color or emotion until it hits you, and you kind of choose that. And obviously people can influence it to make it feel like it's got more color or whatever, but it's still ultimately up to you to potentially make that choice around what you do with that information and how you choose to react or respond to that. So, yeah.
Have you experienced any like obviously from where you're at now, throughout your journey, have you kind of experienced any kind of time where you've had to protect yourself in this moment where it's like, well, do you know what, this is the way I'm going to live my life, this is where, and other people haven't necessarily, everyone's on a different journey, but have you had to protect yourself from any like people around you or environments or like work like that in those kind of situations?
Yeah, quite a lot, I think. So as I suppose, as a professional consultant, you normally paid to come and fix shit that no one else wants to fix, or is too hard, or is too politically charged for people within an organization to say the things they really want to say. So they get you in there, and if you succeed in that, you're generally pissing someone off, or making someone else look not so great. So even if they've paid you to come in and do the thing and you succeed exactly in doing what they've asked, once it happens, they may not like the way that feels. There's generally a lot of people trying to cover their ass or save their face, etc. And that gets pretty gnarly pretty quickly in terms of politically, just personally, those sorts of things as well. And it's quite hard to potentially have good relationships or meet meaningful, or have meaningful relationships with people or make new ones, etc. Because one way or another, you're going to displace something that shouldn't be displaced. So from that side, it is quite hard. And I've had some people, I think one guy was so pissed off. Like he was spitting in my face because he was yelling so loudly. And like everyone hated this guy. He was the most toxic person ever. But like you just build up some personal resilience around that to be like, cool, well, ultimately I am trying to get a better outcome here for generally the taxpayer. And either the people that are doing it to you have been doing it to everyone else in there. So you're kind of making everyone else's life better. So I think, again, trying to change the mindset to be, cool, what are the positives out of this, etc. And also you're either making the company you work for have a better reputation or make more money, all those sorts of things as well. So I think you can try and focus on the right things. But yeah, there's a lot of people that, try to make your life pretty hard.
Incredible, man. I talk quite a lot about kind of influencing other people and helping other people, but by not telling them what to do, by showing them. Is that kind of similar to, because you talk about being a grower, not a shower? And as soon as it said shower, I was like, hang on a minute, this sounds like some weird sexual innuendo. But at the same time, I was like, also kind of likened it to bro marketing in a way. What does that grower, not a shower mean to you then? Like, is that kind of your take on it, or?
Yeah, it was supposed to be a funny sexual innuendo as well, but
Good.
I think
I'm glad I got it.
It's not just you. But no, I think, like you're kind of saying, that coaching side of things of like helping people articulate their problems, helping them work out how to solve them rather than just giving them the answer. But also, I think walking the talk in terms of being like, yeah, we're fucking awesome, we can do this, rah, rah, rah. It's like, cool. It's like, we can help you solve this problem. Now show them how you can solve it and do it well, and without any arrogance or anything like that. It speaks tones, like, or volumes, right? Like, I think it's more about just, I think, be a nice person, do the best work you can. That's probably going to displace some people, but do it genuinely without having to be arrogant or trying to offside other people intentionally. Then generally all the right people are going to see that and like you for it, or give you more work or more success from that.
Amazing. Is there any parts of the book that you wish you added, looking back now?
No, I don't think so.
I love that.
Yeah.
Good editing then.
Yeah, well, my editor was an absolute angel, and made it sound heaps better than it was, and I think articulate it better. I think there's always going to be more stuff or different ways to say something, but I think what I just wanted to create was like a great base of enough stuff that covers pretty much all of the general things to make a well-rounded person who can be pretty successful and enjoy doing that, and hopefully be as healthy and happy as they possibly can. Because I think, and can focus on the right things that make them happy. And if they don't know what that is, work that out. Because I think you see, I don't know, I just see so many people working so hard for no fucking reason, and they just kill themselves and potentially make lots of money and don't know what to do with it, and don't know what to do with themselves when they're not working. So it's like, what's the fucking point? Like,
yeah. Is there one thing you do then to protect your energy when it comes to, like, if you've got like a big job or a big task on? Is there something you do to kind of protect yourself, or?
Yeah, I kind of have built a base of everything I do during the week, and I kind of protect that religiously or very doggedly. So apart from when I'm ripped up and broken, I will normally run twice a week. I go to the gym 3 times a week. I ride my road bike once a week, and I go rock climbing with some mates and have burgers and beers afterwards once a week. And unless there's a life-changing event, then nothing is changing that. And I book that out in my calendar, and you can't book over that. And then on the weekends, I'll go and do fun shit like mountain biking and stuff like that. So
with a back break.
With a back break, yeah. But like I talk about it in there, and there's a chapter on it, and I reference it lots, is that healthy tension. Like, you need to create that healthy tension. and make sure you've got that equal amounts of fun and work hard or whatever it needs to be for you to be happy, and like religiously protect that. You see so many people, as soon as something gets hard, they're like, oh, they get rid of all the fun stuff or all of their hanging out with friends and focus more on the other stuff. And it's, funnily enough, when you have more fun and you spend more time with your friends, you're actually more happy and you can be more effective rather than that other stuff. So yeah, and I suppose then just looking at the sleep metrics and stuff like that to make sure I'm in the right window. But yeah,
I love it, man. I always ask this question at the end, but I feel like just before I ask you like where to find the book, I want to ask you this question, which is, if you already knew the answer, what would be the question? And it's almost a bit of a backward question, but I'd love to know your take on it. I think, do you know what? I'm going to make a soundbite of everyone I've asked this question, and those weird noises they make in between.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you already knew the answer, what would be the question? I think that like it's probably really generic, but what's your purpose? Like, it's funny why when I wrote the book and like coming back to changing this chapter sequences and the structure of the sections, I was going to have sort of like, because it currently goes mindset, people, and success system. And in success system, I was going to kind of have setting your purpose and shit like that. And I pulled it out, and it's right up the top, apart from like the entry part, so you can understand what the fuck the book does, is everything hangs off that. So if you don't know your purpose, which probably sounds scary, and it's okay if you don't, there's some stuff in there to help you do that. Essentially, anything that's not helping you get towards your purpose or live your purpose is essentially unproductive. And anything that helps you get there and does that is productive, right? So sounds quite aggressive, but what is your purpose, and try to work that out. And that can change over time or iterate over time, and that's okay. But I think really spend some time thinking about what that is, because then everything else will be so much easier, and all of the decisions and things that you have to make around what do I do in life or who do I hang out with or all that sort of stuff will become a lot easier around.
Literally, like, it's everything I eat, sleep, rave, repeat. It's like, for me, it's like, if you don't know your purpose and your passion in my world, I just feel that like, it's almost like I talked about this recently about, you know, like, so you got the Google Maps. Have you got what free? I'm assuming you have what free words in Australia, right?
No, I don't. I've not heard of that. Yeah.
Right. So I don't know if it is. So basically, what free words is where basically it's like an app where it gives you a generic free or there's a free words, and the free words, instead of being like a postcode or an area code of where you are in a place, when you put it in on a map, it takes you down to a square meter. So for me, like, knowing your purpose and your passion is like your what free words. It's like, actually, instead of let's go in like this, you know, for example, we just say, you know, Canberra or Sydney or something like that. It's like, well, actually, we're going to go for this is where we're going to go for. For me, like, going to somewhere that's a bit more direct and having that sort of tighter feel is that kind of almost real kind of fuels your purpose. Dude, tell me, how can people find your book, and kind of, where's the best way to kind of connect with you? Because yeah, I know a few of my listeners who listen on a regular basis will definitely be wanting to read this book.
Yeah, sweet, for sure. So as I said, I self-published it. So I used a platform called Ingram Spark, which basically blasts it out to everywhere. It's print to order and has global distribution partnerships with everyone. So Google is probably the best way to find it, because the retailers will all fight each other to the bottom. So depending on who's feeling the most fighty on the day, will have the best deal for you. You make basically 4/5 of fuck all from the actual author, but I think getting the words to you and helping you is kind of why I wrote it. So yeah, you can Google it and it'll come up everywhere. Otherwise, I've got a website called Success by 1,000 Cuts, and I've got links to sort of the major retailers on there where I've seen it. I've also narrated the audiobook and self-edited and published that, which took fucking ages as well and was quite an interesting learning journey too. But that's on Spotify, Books, etc. It's supposed to be on Audible. It was supposed to be on Audible like 6 months ago, and every time I check, they're like, "Yeah, it's coming," but nothing's there.
Wow.
Yeah, if you've got Spotify Premium, it's included in there. So jump on there and you can listen to my dulcet tones drill bit your temple for 10 hours straight if you like.
No way, man.
And then it's also on Kindle as well. So I tried to make it for as many different factors, so it's easiest for whatever people like. And I narrated it because I really like listening to books where the author has narrated it, because you can kind of hear where the emotion and the color and the passion is for the right stuff. So yeah, and then I've got by Hamish Armstrong on Instagram. There's a Facebook page as well, but I think the Instagram is probably the most active one. Yeah, but one thing that I suck at and I'm trying to get better, and I've got a marketing person helping me, is the socials and the sales side of things. But yeah, also the website's got some really good extra bits of information and tips and tools and stuff like that. At the end of each chapter, I've got a Cuts to Success little homework exercise, and I've pulled all of those out onto the website so you can go back and see them. So if you're listening along in the car or something like that, you can go and get them there.
I did have a look, and one of the things says if you're driving, do this when you've parked or something. I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
Amazing, man. Amazing. Everyone I speak to gives me inspiration, but like I feel like you've made me go like, actually, do you know what? I'm going to push this forward, or I'm going to push this. So yeah, you've really inspired me this morning. I'm definitely going to renew the Whoop and keep in with the stats. So
yeah, sick. Well,
amazing.
It's been awesome to have a chat. So thanks so much. And one thing I do to my customers' absolute dismay is tell shit dad jokes at the end of our meetings to keep the dream alive.
Amazing.
So,
I'm all for this. I'm all for this.
What type of cheese do you use to hide a small horse?
Type of cheese to use to hide a small horse?
Maskarpone.
Man, that's amazing. I absolutely love that. And mate, I just want to say that my daughter will probably not get that, but I will be telling that the second she gets home from school today.
Nice. You're welcome. I'll send
Thanks,
you the invoice later.
And that wraps up today's episode of the Coffee, Chaos and Confidence podcast. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed today's episode, please make sure you like and subscribe. It helps other listeners find the show. Also, go and check out the show notes to learn more about my incredible guests. Until next time, make sure you chase your dreams without limitations.